Andrew McCART, IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. I'm down in Jamie Moore's gym in Manchester. Is it Manchester where I am?
Well, it's great in Manchester. It's a place called Astley, which actually comes under Wigan Council, but literally when you drive down the road and go through the lights, it says Salford. So close enough.
Close enough. I'm in Manchester. I've been telling everyone I'm going to Manchester today, so I'm in Manchester. Yeah, we're here for Chantel, a little media day for Chantel, because she's got a big fight coming up on the end of this month against Mary McGee. I mean, what a concept that is. She could be undisputed champion in 2 fights. She's talked about it, she's wanted it, it's almost there. How's she looking?
Yeah, she's looking great. She's consummate professional, Chantel. Every time she's in camp, she's halfway through. She's basically at the point where she could be ready to fight. So yeah, she's looking forward to it. She's nervous, which is a good thing. Those nerves always sort of bring out the best in fighters. I'd be more worried if she wasn't nervous because of the magnitude of the fight. But it will be quite a fast sort of process from her winning the world title to this is for the Ring magazine belt, and then another fight down the line and she'll be undisputed, all being well. So it is quite fast, but in women's boxing, because it's still progressing sort of thing, and the depth in quality isn't the same as it is in the men's side, you've got to anticipate that happens. But she's more than capable of doing it, and she's in great form.
But looking at her opponents, they've got vastly more professional fights than her. I mean, Mary's had something, maybe I think it's close to 30 fights. She's fought good opposition, and Holly Holm as well, who was a good fighter, although she lost, but she has fought better opposition and stuff like that. In terms of that, can we read too much into that? Is that going to play an advantage or disadvantage to Chantel?
I think Chantel's been matched pretty well herself. She's not actually, as high quality opposition, but even the world title eliminators she was in against Bashir and against Sanchez, they was top quality opponents, and she absolutely dominated them. So do I think she can win this? Absolutely, and I think she can win it really without even getting out of third sort of gear. That's how much I rate her. I mean, we have to regularly get a sparring with lads, because we just can't get the type of quality sparring with the girls, because she just tends to overwhelm them after sort of 2 or 3 rounds. She gets on top of them, and her work rate's so good. She's so strong, she's so accurate, and her defence is coming on really well. We've been doing a lot of technical sparring with the lads in here. We've got some really good defensive fighters in the gym, so she's picking stuff up off them as well, and so she's becoming a more all-round fight, a rounded fighter rather than just a good, solid pressure fighter.
Talking about defence, I mean, did you have defence when you fought?
Yeah, I used to sort of just do that, put my hands up. So
that's old school.
My defence was offence. I just used to stop people from punching me by hitting them more times.
That's the best. Offence is the best defence, right?
A lot of the time it is actually, but you can never hurt your style if you've got them defensive things in your locker as well.
Definitely. Like Jack Carroll's here as well. I mean, he's obviously been patiently waiting. I mean, he's just sitting over there right now, probably on Twitter looking at things, but Jack's been waiting a long time. It's almost there. I mean, you could have 2 undisputed champions in your gym come 2022. You know what I mean? So, for you as a coach, how are you feeling about that?
No pressure, it's listen. It's what these fighters are in the game for, and I don't necessarily look at it from that point of view. I just view myself as a trainer. I've said this loads of times, as me helping them achieve their goals. So it's not a goal of mine to become a trainer of a world champion. It just doesn't make sense to me that. I just want to help them achieve their own goals. But yeah, it's a great thought, and I mean, imagine that be a great achievement for this gym in the sense of having 2 world champions at the same time. Never mind 2 undisputed world champions. So, but it's a mammoth task. So that's why not a lot of people, I don't think anyone's ever had that. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head who's had 2 undisputed world champions. And that's why, because it's such a big ask.
Don't get many undisputed champions, let alone 2 in one gym.
Yeah, exactly. So, and probably since the 4 belt era, there's been, I think there's only been one. I think it's Teofimo Lopez who's the only 4 belt undisputed champion. So,
Josh as well.
Usyk, yeah. So, and Josh. So, well, there you go. And Chantel is more than capable of doing it. And I also think Jack is more than capable of doing it, even though, as I've said many times, it's such a big ask against Josh, because we rate him so hard as a fighter, but I know I've got the fighter. If there's anybody with the tools to beat someone like Josh, it's Jack.
Talking about that fight then, I mean, Josh has fought every opposition. Regis Prograis, southpaw, stocky, maybe similar to Jack in a sense, and he's come out the win. Then he's fought Ramirez, that forward orthodox fighter, then Ryan Martin and Baranchik, that aggressive fighter. So, and obviously the amateur career that Josh had, he's fought every single style. It's safe to say probably, and Josh will probably agree with that. But for Jack and yourself, you've probably obviously got a game plan, but do you have something different than what every single person that Josh has faced right now? Have you got something in your head that's different than everyone else has tried against Josh?
Well, obviously I'm not going to spill the beans in that sense.
Not when I'm Josh's mate.
Well, yeah, exactly, and it doesn't matter because literally a lot of people get hung up on stuff like that. Why would you have people in the gym who are friends? It doesn't matter. It absolutely has no impact on the actual fight on the night. It doesn't matter to me. But when you look at Jack's attributes, you look at Josh has been phenomenal in his career and he's beaten everybody asked of him, but people have given him problems. He's overcome them, but as time goes on with all great high class fighters, people give him problems, and then coaches or fighters themselves are able to look at it and go, you know what, we never saw that weakness before today, so next time someone should try and exploit it. Then as time goes on again, so you wouldn't generally have it have that type of knowledge on a fighter after as least fights Josh has had, but he's been fast tracked and he's been capable enough of going at the pace he's gone and boxing the high class of opposition up to this point. So now, even though he's had 19 fights?
19 fights, yeah.
Yeah, so but he's fought that depth of quality in those fights. They've all been able to give him some problems and then he's overcome them. So I can now go back and go, you know what, he struggled there, let's bring that on board. And then this other guy, also, he struggled there as well. So you start to add them together. And that's what I'm saying about Jack. So Jack hasn't got the experience in terms of the level of opposition he's fought in the ring. When Jack was 18 and 19 years old, he was in Las Vegas sparring Canelo and Mayweather. That is absolute invaluable experience. Now to get that at such a young age and your brain.
Against the Guerrero fight for Mayweather.
They took him over, or he was over there as a sparring partner. So for him to have that experience at a young age and to absorb it and for his brain to take it on board and then still have 10 years since that point in time to take on all the rest of the experiences, evolve himself as a fighter, it's invaluable, so he hasn't got the actual in-ring experience what Josh has got, obviously, but it doesn't mean he's not capable of competing at that level because of his knowledge and his skill set. I've seen some of the stuff he does in the gym and it's like you sort of go, wow, there's only a certain calibre of fighter who can do some of the things what Jack CATTERALL does. I don't think you've seen the best of him because nobody's been able to bring out the best of him in a fight, and Josh certainly is more than capable of doing that, and I think it's going to be a great fight for the fans as well.
You're talking about sparring and stuff like that, and like I've known Jack and I'm good friends with Jack as well, so the sparring's one thing, as a fighter. Sparring's one thing, a fight's different, but for Jack, he hasn't been in the ring for close to 18 months now, I think it is. I mean, fighters talk about ring rust. Some fighters say you don't get ring rust if you get good sparring, but there is a difference between sparring and a fight itself. So, is that going to play a part in this fight in terms of he's not fought in a long time? Josh is fresh out. He's fought the better opposition in the last 2-3 fights. I mean, a lot of people may be thinking that maybe Jack needs one more fight before Josh to get that ring rust. But you as coach, you see him. Is that going to be advantage or disadvantage?
It's obviously in Josh's favour that he's boxed more often than Jack recently, but you never know whether that's going to come into play until on the night. And one thing what Jack's got massively in his favour is he's never out the gym. He's literally never out the gym. So what have we been like 20 months down the line from lockdown? As soon as we was allowed back in the gym, he was in the gym, and he spars every week, and he doesn't get hit that much because he's so clever and cute defensively, but his timing and his judgment of distance is always there. So it's not like he's out of the gym for 2 or 3 months after a fight and then comes in and goes, right, I'm going to start doing a bit of sparring to get me distance and my timing, because he's never away. He's never not got it. So I don't see it being an issue at all.
I want to just go the couple other fighters you've got in this gym, like young Sean McGoldrick and Laurent making his debut. I mean, his dad's birthday was the other day. I seen it on your Instagram. Oliver was a great coach for you, and he obviously taught you more about boxing and life itself and stuff like that. So, how excited are you for this young man to make his debut?
Yeah,
Nervous?
I am. I'm nervous for him. I'm excited. I'm sad. I'm proud. There's a mixture of emotions for me as far as that situation goes. He's such a lovely kid. He's young. He's 19. He was in a situation where he wanted to turn professional because they had a plan, but he sort of didn't know where to go because his dad wasn't here to sort of guide him. I know that in this situation he would ask me to do it, so I'm proud that he came to me. I'm glad he did. I'm so happy to be able to help him out, but I'm just really sad because it should be his dad here doing it for him. So, but we'll do him proud, and it's going to be an emotional night. It's next Friday at York Hall, so it's going to be great, but it's a bit sad as well at the same time, bittersweet.
Definitely. Now, young Sean McGoldrick, I mean, the amateur career he had, a lot of people had high hopes for him. Obviously had that bump in the road against Somba, but he's back to winning ways. He's got another opponent in front of him, which people might ask is not going to give him much trouble, but been out the ring for so long with the pandemic and all this sort of stuff, he needs these type of fights before we can get back onto them title charge again, doesn't he? Yeah,
of course. Somba's no mug. He gave Mark Leach a close fight, and I know how good Mark Leach is. He trains at the same gym. Sean is a great kid, lovely guy. He needs to get a bit of ring rust off because he has been up here, quite often during all lockdowns and stuff like that. He doesn't spar as often as Jack, so that is a little bit of an issue. And they are looking to try and move him on. He's getting on now. I think he's 28, 29, so he needs to get a move on. And so they're looking at sort of title fights and a decent level of opposition for the next fight, so he needs to get a little sort of run out first, but you know what, he's such a dedicated kid and he's a beautiful person. If anyone deserves an opportunity, it's him. Definitely.
Then you've got you're a busy night at that York Hall next week. You've got Tursunbay on there as well. I'm probably murdering his name, I do apologise. No, is that right? Tursunbay, yeah, Clackmate, there you go. So I didn't murder it. I mean, Kazakh won the WBC international fight against Macaulay McGowan, I think it was, in his second fight. Yeah. He's been fast-tracked. You're talking about Sean being fast-tracked? This kid has been fast-tracked. I mean, how good is he? You've seen him in the gym for the last few months now. Is he that good at what people are saying?
Yeah, he's a great fighter. Lovely kid. Picking up the English now, he's really getting there. He understands a lot. His boxing brain's phenomenal.
Understands Nigel?
Well, sort of. I think Nigel speaks better Kazakhstan. He sounds like he's talking Kazakh than he does English. But he's really settled into the gym. He gets on with everyone. He's picked up English really quick, but his ring IQ is phenomenal. Like you ask him to do something, Southpaw, yeah. You ask him to do something, or you explain something to him, and one or two times he tries it, and bang, that's it. He slots into his style so easily. So he's a dream to train. He's over here because his good things are so good, but he needs to add the other little subtleties, that defensive stuff on the inside. Coming from the amateurs, a lot of the time they don't really defend themselves. It's just sort of when they get up close to just claim and wait. So these little things what we've been adding to his style like that, and he's really coming on. So I'm excited. I want him to step up in opposition because he's so good. He doesn't get competitive rounds a lot of the time in sparring or in fights. So I'm looking forward to him stepping up because that's where he'll improve. When he's given problems, then he's got to sort of work them out. At the moment, he hasn't been given those problems. And he boxed the kid. I think the kid was 16-0 or 18-0 in Dubai, and he knocked him out in the first round. It's like, the better the opposition, the more opportunities he gets. So it is a difficult one with him, and they've said within 7 fights they want him to fight for a world title. So he's within the next sort of 3 fights they want him to fight for a world title, and he's more than capable of winning one. That's how good he is. And the same situation as Sean. He's 27, 28 now, so they need to get a move on. But he had a fantastic amateur career. I think he had over 300 fights and won about 260 of them. So he's got some pedigree, and it's an honour to work with him. To be honest, he's so easy to work with, and he's so naturally talented.
Well, Jim, I do appreciate you inviting me down this gym. You've got a busy month ahead of you, a week ahead of you next week, and then obviously when Chantel's on next fight coming up for the winner if she gets through on the 30th as well, and then obviously Jack's fight as well. But I've got to ask, man, have you got some secret background here that pays the heating bill in here, because it is toasting.
Yeah, Steve Wood. You've got to thank him. We've got gas heating in here, and like I said to you before, we love Tenerife. We love training camps in Tenerife, and
you don't need it.
We've not been able to get over there, so we've had to bring Tenerife to the gym. So
certainly. Listen, I came from like 4 or 5 degrees in Scotland. I come down here and I'm like, I'm wearing.
Since you put a bit of timber on, so you need
that's well. You're going to coach me,
mate. Anytime you want. Just don't give away any secrets, you know what I mean?
No, listen, you know me, I'm a good guy. I like to think I'm one of the good guys in the game anyway. But Jamie, as always, it's a pleasure to speak to you, my man, and thank you for inviting me down your gym, and good luck next week. You've got a busy weekend, so good luck with it all.
Top man, cheers, man.
Thanks, Jamie, thank you.